Alright, what's up, y'all? This is Wooly. It's been a while, but today we're gonna cover an updated fire tank guide, because I've been seeing some comments on some of my old tank guides. So those were some of my first videos. Some things have changed since then, so I'm gonna go through the full breakdown. We're gonna talk about the loadout. We're gonna talk about how to actually fire tank, augments, how to stick your skill points, tactical mods, allies, artifacts, all that good stuff, right? So first things first, we are going to talk about what it means to be a fire tank. So you are going to spec health. That should be your main stat. First and foremost, fill out your healing crits, and I'll show you what I mean in just a second, but I want to explain the tank role here. So what we can see is Fire Soul here. You gain the following benefits while in tank role: 50% health, 50% incoming health while not blocking. So you are a offensive tank. I'm going to show you how to do that. I went ahead and captured the raid I just did. We did 6th dimension regular, so I'll show you how I was taking that one towards the end of the video, so stay tuned, so you can kind of see how that runs. Okay, but in the meantime, 50% incoming healing while not blocking, plus 3 precision. You gain Fire Soul. Superpowers: gain taunt abilities, cost 30% less power. So very, very nice to have. Gain 35% defense while not blocking, as you directly damage burning enemies. So what does that mean? You have to set an enemy on fire. Very, very easy. You just pop either Immolation, Backdraft, or Stoke Flames, right? And then of course taunt, when you use a power or when you use a superpower, your opponents attack you instead of your allies. That's basic 101 tanking. So the loadout, let's just go ahead and take a look at the loadout. Your main pull groups of ads from wherever they are. Engulf, Stoke Flames, it's just a good healing for you. Both of these add a burning effect. Your group pull right here for ads that you've pulled in with Engulf and they're trying to run away. Backdraft, also when you're comboing your weapon, you want to clip out of it with a backdraft to continue that burning, right? Immolation, kind of a shield, just like a buffer. Think of it as a damage buffer, because it adds that burning, which increases your offensive defense while also adding a little bit of defense. Hard light shield really depends. I mean, if you are running, you know, anywhere from like 160 to 200 artifacts, and you've got 3, 4, 500 skill points, you can max out your stats. You know what I mean? You probably don't need hard light shield. It's gonna differ on how you choose to play. Now you could run Burning Determination in place of that. You could run the Breakout right here. Now this Breakout is really good if you have the Superman ally, because he does add an additional shield, I think, to like 3 other people. So if you have the Superman ally, that's what you would want to run in place of Hard Light Shield, because that is still going to be another shield. It's a shield for you, it's a shield for group members. So this is going to be really handy to run Burnout in something like an Elite Alert, where you have the Superman ally. I would probably opt for Burnout. I would probably swap Immolation for Hard Light Shield in that case, like that specific scenario, but overall this is going to be your main non-changing loadout. This one will be dependent on what you're running, what kind of allies you have. I run Metabolic Boost personally as a fire tank because I run Eye of Gemini, and I'll show you. So Eye of Gemini, when I drop it down, in tank roll, big green circle, it gives some passive healing back to members around me, while also, you know, boosting up my supercharge. And the reason I run metabolic boost is, if we read the description, accelerates your metabolism to break free of control effects. So that's important. Break out of control effects. It's kind of iffy when it actually breaks you out. Like if you're in the alert, Return to Earth 3, and you get hit by the Wonder Woman lasso, or Superwoman lasso, sorry, you're not going to break out of that. You know, that's just a mechanic. So it still will drop your Eye of Gemini though, right? So it does restore health over time, and you'll see that in the gameplay. If you've watched any of my videos, you've seen me run this a lot. So metabolic boost, my suggestion for fire tanks that are running Eye of Gemini, okay? Now, really quickly before we move on, so just in case you were not running Eye of Gemini, if you were running Manacles, Everyman, and Mystic Symbols of the 7, then you're going to want to either swap that out for Burning Determination and just leave it up like this, unless you want to run super, but you don't really need a super unless you're running Eye of Gemini. Mostly that's just a preference. Burning Determination is a really nice power. It will give you healing back for 10 additional attacks. So if you're going down to the wire, you're really getting cut up by ads, because when you're in raids, ads are the ones that will shred a tank like there's no tomorrow. Burning Determination would really come in handy there. Allow you to get those few seconds for one of these to cool down to where you can pop your offense and defense again, right? So just something to think about. Okay, now how are we going to spec? I'm running super powered just because I haven't changed back. You don't really need to do this. You would want to go ahead and go hybrid when we're going to play fire tank properly. You're going to want to go ahead and spec over to hybrid, get the 10% might, 5% dom, 5% resto, so about 5k. First things first, you fill out your healing crits before anything else. Don't cut them halfway. Don't put 10 here, 10 here, and then go down and spec into something else. Spec your crits. It's the same thing for any role. If you're damage, troll, heal, tank, whatever, you fill out your crits for that role before you fill out anything else. That is the most important. You are going to do yourself a disservice if you do not spec into the crits, right? So you need 60 skill points. It's not a big deal. That's very easily attainable. Most people should have well over that by now. Anything left over goes into health. We want as much health as we can get. And I'll explain why we don't run pure resto and why we don't run pure dominance. You are a health tank, very much dependent on how much health you actually have. So everything that we're doing is working to buff our health. So spec into health. Afterwards, if we're going to play properly, then you would spec into restoration. Depending on how many skill points you have, if you don't have enough to fill it out, don't worry about it. It's not necessary. It's just a nice added benefit. I would really only put about 100 skill points into resto. Anything left over, if you have that many skill points, I would start sliding over to dominance at that point. It's not like it really matters, to be quite honest with you, because let me show you. If we go to my current effects, I'm not running anything, just an nth metal detector. So letting that run out while I do this for you guys. Let's see. So my health, because I'm 378 here, I'm full elite gear on the tank side, 200 arts, so just missing that utility belt. But let me see, my health is 518,640. It's going to take a lot to take me down. My restoration is 51,552, and my dominance is 55,738, right? So if we go over, and let's say for example we were going to be looking at the source wall. So we're just going to be running regular source wall. The suggested dominance is 29,362. Moving on up to the next in the wheat, it's 37,711. Both of these, right? So just in gear alone, even if you're in the normal standard gear, you're going to have way more than enough dominance to meet the requirements of that raid. So that's why we don't bother speccing into Dom. But what we do is we use Dom augments. So if I go and look at myself, got a dominant, and then just all Dom right here. So we give ourselves some additional Dom by using the augments. That's all you really need. And if you really want to add some more in there, you take a bulldozer soda, you take an omega, or you take an ultimate. So ideally one of these two, whichever one you have, and then the bulldozer on top of it. They will stack. So bulldozer is giving you some extra power, some extra health, some extra dominance for 30 minutes. Omega is just a 5% buff across the board for all stats, and it does buff the whole group with that. So you pop it when the group's around, unless you're a cheesy DPS and you do it before you go into the raid. Ultimate is just the same thing as Omega, except it's a 1% boost. So depending on what you have, I always run Omega. I only run this when I'm doing like alerts or duos or anything like that. If I'm running an actual raid, I pop Omegas, and then I pop bulldozer, just because it's complete overkill, but we'd rather be overkilling it than being killed, right? Alright, so that's how you spec. That's what your loadout should look like. Let's take a look at the actual tactical mod. So we are going to be using the healing one for regenerative shielding. It's not too substantial, but with our stats as a fire tank, anything helps, right? So any little bit of healing that we can get helps. I use quick healing in the chest mod, gain an additional 2% bonus healing received. I still use Tumbling Master here. We don't do a whole lot of blocking. The only time we really block is when we want to knock over the boss or whatever's attacking us, knock them down. But I still use Tumbling Master just in case you get into a bad AoE spot. When you're a tank, you're going to get stuck by ads, everybody's pets, just a whole bunch of stuff. So just be mindful of what you put here. There's not really much for the leg mod. Sometimes I do run Flashpoint as a way to just bounce ads off the ground. That's just something I like to do for fun. It's by no means anything necessary, but if I choose to run Flashpoint, then I will go ahead and run Restore to Flashpoint. That way it gives me a chance to get some healing out of it. Back mod is going to be Accelerated Stoke Flames. Reduces the cooldown by 10%. So that's pretty much enough said right there. I haven't changed this out because I don't really need to, you know, my stats and everything, and it's the OP neck. So I just kind of leave it and get that extra might. Put what you want there. Now for the head, I am running Supercharged Metabolic Boost. Grants me 2.5% supercharge back when you use Super Speed Metabolic Boost. I just put Blast Adapter here for a little bit of extra damage, but ideally, if you were going to be straight up tanking, you would want to put the one with the shield on in there. Okay, so one last thing, let's take a look at the artifacts. Again, I'm running Eye of Gemini. If you're not going to run Eye of Gemini, I would put Everyman Prototype here. Mystic Symbols of the Seven is my choice. When you're hit by an enemy, increase defense by 5% for each enemy within 5 yards, maximum 20%. Increase healing received by 10%. That's already on top of the chest mod. Regenerate a small amount of health based on restoration each time you're struck by an enemy. Right? So, I really love Mystic. Honestly, you could either swap this out for Everyman or just use this one. That's really going to be a preference, but I tend to be heavy on pulling the ads to myself and trying to keep them there, so I want as much health, healing as I can get. Right? And then Manacles of Force, it's just a necessary for any tank. I feel like the other artifacts can be swapped out by preference, more or less, but this is a necessary artifact. This is the one tank artifact I will say is necessary across the board, regardless of what power you are. So this one, capable of blunting the strongest attacks. These manacles put you into an unshakable state for 5 seconds when an attack damages you for at least 30% of your health. So absorb 50% of incoming damage and reapplies it over the next 5 seconds. So what Everyman does, aside from Manacles, Everyman prototype, I think it converts a portion of your health to defense. So it allows you to take those hits as well. So that's why it is a very good artifact. But in this case, we're looking for what's on the Manacles, which is Unshakable. So when Unshakable triggers, the following ability cooldowns are reset, and this basically goes on to list the different shields from the different powers. So Density, Gemstone Shield, Immolation, Redirected Rage, and Winter Ward. So we're fire, Immolation is ours, and then the final perk is Resolute. All shield cooldowns are reduced by 10%, so you get an extra chance. You get an extra chance to get Immolation up a little bit quicker. So very nice to have. Now Affinity mods, this is going to really be based on your specific play style, right? So me, I got the might boost, so wearing 2 pieces of elite gear, 1% might, 4 pieces of elite gear, 1% might. Type C mod, aggressive protection. While wearing 6 pieces of elite gear, weapon buffs have a 25% chance to grant 6 seconds of damage absorption, reducing damage by 100% until damage equal to 20% of your max health is prevented. Now, the reason I put this in here is because, as you can see, I do have the Clarion. I'm going to go ahead and level that up at double XP. We'll cover that for another video. So I just leave this in for the time being. Field Medic, while wearing 8 pieces of elite gear, grants an invisible aura to heal nearby allies over time. So hopefully I'm giving a little bit of healing passive to the group, right? So that's just a very nice mod to have. Now the allies, I use Zoom for tanking, and the reason I use Zoom is because he pulls in ads. So spinning attack pulls enemies, followed by AoE explosion damage. So very nice to have. I call it Zoom. I pull the ads in, I stun them with the chronomatic emitter, and then he just keeps them there, and he drops a little bit of damage on them. Nubia is another one that I'm working on. So upon executing a block counter, that's when you want to block and knock over the boss when they're attacking you. You heal yourself and nearby allies for a percentage of your hit points, right? So a little bit of additional healing to the members of my group never hurts if we can get a little passive healing there. Calculator is really good to have, because when you're taking damage, convert a small percentage of the damage into health. So we're just stacking up extra health. So these are my personal recommendations for just running a straight up fire tank, right? And then of course you can run Queen Diana as well, but I'm running Nubia right now. Or you can run Calculator, depending on what you're doing, something like survival mode, and just keep repairing your gear while you're in combat. So that mainly comes down to a preference. The one I would say is probably most necessary here is going to be Calculator. Zoom, again, my preference just for handling ads, very good to have. And then I really like the support here on Nubia as well. So if you are running Superman though, I would probably swap her out for Superman. I haven't actually got him yet, but I plan on getting him for the next episode that's going to launch, right? So there we have it. Those are the allies. Alright, so we've pretty much covered our tactical mods, our augments, skill points. The last thing I wanted to cover before I actually go in a little more depth into demonstrating how we tank. Personal dampening fields. Always get the highest one that you can for the latest episode. So this is just an extra shield. Comes in handy. Now whenever you craft one, they come in a stack of 99, I believe. So not too costly at all. So chronomatic emitters are really good to have. I keep my supply drop as well. Alfred box is just something I run on here. You can run whatever you want there. The main two things that you want here are these two. Now chronomatic emitter, I'm going to come over here. This is a stun, so lets you control the ads. So the higher your dom, the more control you're going to put over them. Now, I've mentioned this in other tank videos before, but here's how I normally will grab the ads and hold them. So let's say they come out, they're fixing to run towards the group. We're going to grab them, we're going to pull them in. So we're going to grab them, we're going to pull them in, and we're going to stun them, and then we'll pop stoke flames, and from there we'll just start swinging our weapon. We'll give it a partial combo, we'll pop immolation, so basically that's really it. I mean, you just want to, aside from, you know, maintaining your pull on the ads and your hold on them, to actually do the fire tanking, you just want to hit an effect, swing your weapon, hit another effect, swing your weapon, and just rinse and repeat. So and then as you get more comfortable with the tanking side of it and getting a feel for it, you'll figure out your rhythm and how you actually like to swing your weapon and pop your powers. So the length of time between in which you pop your powers, it's really going to be up to you. I generally say a 6-second rule is good unless you are actually starting to take damage. At that point you want to go ahead and pop a power, because then you're buffing your defensive offense. That sounds so weird. But that is it, guys. That is pretty much Fire Tanking 101. That's the definitive guide that I can give you to try to make it as easy to understand as possible when it comes to fire tanking. Because when you keep pulling ads like this, it helps, but it also will make them immune, which was something I honestly didn't even think about. I didn't even really pay attention to it until somebody mentioned it. So I stopped doing that and I changed up the way that I tank. So this is the proper way to actually do a fire tank. Alright, so I think we've covered everything. We've covered skill points, augments, allies, tactical mods. I mean, the gear is just going to be tank gear, of course. Consumables that you need. and then how to actually do it. So I think we're good on that end. I'm going to go ahead and get back to the game, and then I will tack on the 6th dimension raid that we did. It's like a 12-minute run, so it's not very long. You don't have to watch the whole thing, but if you want to get an idea of what I'm talking about in live content with how we're keeping our fire soul active, that was a good demonstration. So go ahead and check it out, except they were burning stuff very, very quickly. But anyways, guys, I'll keep you updated. We got some more content coming out. Somebody asked me to do a video covering where all of the pet trinkets drop. That is going to take some time. If you watch this, I haven't forgot about you. That's going to take a little bit of time to get to, but we will try to get it in before the next DLC drops. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a good video on how to make some money, get some feats, right? So I'll catch you guys next time. Wooly out. Stay frosty.
The perfect justice was designed by the World Forger. Imagine my surprise when we read your minds and found you would oppose it. Now I am forced to give you a life sentence along with all the other criminals. It's a real tragedy, but necessary.
Don't be mad, but I did read your minds for Superman. I'm going to help you escape, though. I'm not real. I'm just a blueprint, an iteration, like the rest of this world. But you're still family to me, Uncle. I had to help you.
It is a joy for me to find any family, even in such a surprising place. When we convince the World Forger to join us, I hope you can too.
Survived countless iterations of this place, and I've never let a prisoner escape. You won't get out.
Lois, your strength of will was always impressive. Have the strength to see why justice without fairness is wrong.
Yeah, and let you become the next Legion of Doom. I don't think so. Send everything at the... Shut the prisoners down.
safe location to regroup.
I read your minds. I saw your plan to fight Perpetua. I know you can make the World Forger see reason.
Thank you for believing in us. You make me proud.
Hold fast, evildoers. Justice comes at a price, and you will pay it. I know you think this is important. This is known as Superplay. The multiverse needs protecting, like Superplay. You lose in every timeline! The multiverse needs protecting, like the multiverse needs protecting, the likes of I know you think this is known as Superplay.
I really thought this disguise would have at least inspired some doubt. But no, stubborn to a fault.
Destroyed and remade over and over because you would rather lie and hide than join them and help?
It was worth it to find this. The blueprint that works. I must bring this into reality.
Okay. He'll be at the World Forge, steps of the Hall of Justice. I'll hold off as much security as I can. What are you waiting for? Go!
Do not attempt to interfere.
Listen, World Forger. The Monitor sent us to find you.
I know the Monitor's plan. Reunite us brothers against Perpetua. It will never work. This is why I must act. Your efforts will be remembered by few. Dare overpower one such as myself. You will return to the Forge.
I'm intelligent, fast.
strength that could win, perhaps?
Perhaps. I will help. Then it would seem we are united.
Brothers, it has been some time.
Oh, this family reunion is getting me all choked up. But isn't there someone you didn't invite?
Insolent, disobedient children. Face your punishment.
I apologize, Mother. Please, forgive me.
All is forgiven, child. Keep these meddlers busy while my new pet and I push the Earth into its final doom.
As you command.
You seen it, Railway.
Enough combat. Perpetua will accept that I have achieved what she asked from me.
I have enough power, I can still rewrite the world for justice. No, World Forger. I can see that it has all the Batman who laughs.